Let's let it go.
Dr. Rosie Milligan, one of the most sought-after speakers on the circuit today. Her live internet talk show, Express Yourself, is the most provocative, thought-provoking, and talked-about radio show on the internet. There's no holds barred, and Dr. Milligan puts the B in bold. She brings it every Tuesday live at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dr. Rosie has been proclaimed the most provocative female writer of the century. Her books include Satisfying the Black Man and Black Woman Sexually Made Simple, Why Black Men Choose White Women, and the book Nigga Please. These books have raised eyebrows across the country. She has authored 21 books and published 350 titles for authors nationwide. Check Dr. Rosie out at drrosie.com for her books, articles, and archives of her internet talk show. Sit at the feet of wisdom. Dr. Milligan is indeed a timekeeper and scorekeeper. She is the clock, calendar, and almanac for Black America. You need to hear her.
Top of the morning. You're listening to the Express Yourself Hour. I am your host, Dr. Rosie Milligan, coming to you live with nothing but straight talk. You know how we do it around here, nothing but straight talk. And my co-host is wonderful, the fabulous. You guys know how to do it. Every week I'm looking for an adjective in which to describe him by. Keith coming up with he's just wonderful, he's black, he's intelligent. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning, Dr. Rosie.
How are you today?
It's cloudy and my Indian summer is over, but I'll get over it.
You'll make it. I just left 30-degree weather, so I said,
oh, wow, yeah.
I left 105, went to 30. I said, wow, my body have to make some adjustment. But, it's all well. We did it. Well, we have a great show, an exciting show today, one that I have a lot of interest in, and my guest is the one I have a lot of interest in. And in Illinois, I was looking at some of the school system, looking at some of the things that was happening, in fact, all around the world. And it just made me think more and more, Keith, about the importance of this Ebonics conference. I just wish I could, do a surgical procedure and pour the need into Black folks' brain for them to understand what we need to do to help our Black children, if they care about helping our Black children. I believe that a lot of people do, but tend not to want to identify with the issues that really help Black children. They want to think that we are all Caucasian clones, all in the melting pot. As some of them say, well, we all immigrants. I said, what a fool. Oh, I didn't mean to say, excuse me, y'all. Excuse me. I tend to go overboard sometimes, but that's the kind of conversation I'm getting from people. I never thought that Black would push themselves and say, well, we all immigrant. We repeat everything the white men say ahead of us. Maybe we're going to have the white men come out and talk about Ebonics, and maybe the Black folks will catch a hold. Don't be calling up and emailing me, writing me, talking about, Dr. Milligan, you shouldn't say it. Yeah, I'm saying that's true. You tend to follow the white men. So we might have something in store for you for that, okay? But you all today, we have a great show. We are going to talk about Black children continue to lag behind in grades and test scores because of the misunderstanding about Ebonics. People got so twisted some years ago. I'm not going to teach Ebonics. Nobody was trying to get them to teach Ebonics. We was trying to get them, which Dr. Smith then would go into that. But I tell you, our people is a piece of work. But we're working on it, Keith. I just can't give up working on it. Don't care what, I'm still working on them. I believe to my soul that one day they're going to come out of the ditch. They're going to wake up. If they don't do it now, though, I don't know. I think they will. We talk about what's happening. When I go to graduations, and I know you do, Keith, and when I see who's walking across the stage getting all the scholarships, getting all the scholastic academic awards, we have to think, why? I wonder if people ever think, well, we're going to talk today because we have a great conference coming up. I'm really excited about it. Hope we can pack the house. Hope we can get those people who are ashamed of Ebonics. You mentioned Ebonics. Some black folks, they don't want you to say it loud. They think it's just identify with their blackness and they want to be white. I'm going to be nice this morning. I just left cold weather, so I'm not going to let it, make me go crazy. So let me tell you my guest today. I'm so excited, so happy to have Dr. Ernest Smith. He's my guest today. He's an author. He is also a professor and special language consultant. And he is the king when it comes to looking and talking about linguistics. Our other guest today is Miss Linda Redmond Taylor. She's out of Memphis, Tennessee. Probably kind of cold back there. I don't know. She's an author of the book Introduction to Ebonics. And she is a speech and language pathologist. And she has her finger on the pulse when it comes to the need to recognize Ebonics, speech, how we learn, how we say things. So good morning, Dr. Smith. Good morning, Miss Taylor.
Good morning. Good morning, Dr.
Good morning.
Rosie.
Great. Well, let's start with, usually we start with the woman first, but today we're going to start with the king today. We're going to start with Dr. Smith. We have this Ebonics conference coming up, which is going to be Saturday. That's November 4th. It's going to be at Drew. Well, I'll let you give all the info. Yeah, it's going to be at Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science, Keck Lecture Hall, and I will repeat that later. And that's at 1621 East 120th Street. And that's going to be from 12 to 6 p.m. And you don't want to miss it. If you care about blackness, if you care about black children, trust me, you don't want to miss it. The small donation for this conference is just $10, and it includes a complimentary refreshment. So you want to be there. I'll just go ahead and give you the number right now. If for those who want to call and get further information, that's 909-628-7052, 909-628-7052. Dr. Smith, talk to us about the importance of the Ebonics Conference and how far we've come since we've tried to let people know the importance of it. Have we made much stride?
Not in the sense of getting English as a second language as the policy of the school districts throughout the country. Ebonics, the word Ebonics is a compound of two words, ebony and phonics, which means black sounds. This term was coined by Dr. Robert Williams, a psychologist at Washington University in St. Louis in 1973. He also is the author of the Black Intelligence Test of Cultural Homogeneity. That acronym is BITCH. And so not to reduce this program to slang and insults, the Black Intelligence Test of Cultural Homogeneity came out of the court ruling in 1973 when the San Francisco Unified School District was sued by the Association of Black Psychologists for placing a disproportionate number of black children in special ed based on their performance on these so-called standardized tests. The ABPSI, or Association of Black Psychologists, proved to the court that the tests were linguistically and culturally biased. The test does not measure what the child knows. It measures what the person who made the test or the institution that made the test, the Stanford Binet, the Wexler Peabody, all of these tests that were so-called standardized tests were in the English language, which is not the mother tongue of black children. The test assumes, and this is what Asa Hilliard and the late Asa Hilliard and Dr. Robert Williams and Adrian Dove proved to the court. And the premise was, I know something. I'm intelligent. do you know what I know? Because if you know what I know, you're intelligent also. But if you don't know what I know, you're not intelligent. And anything you know that I don't know ain't worth knowing, so it don't even count as intelligence. That's the cultural and linguistic bias of the test that they were using. And they were placing children who were black in classes for the mentally retarded based on their performance of these tests. But getting back to the subject of Ebonics. The term Ebonics came out of a conference in 1973 in St. Louis when Robert Williams was funded by the NIMH, that's the National Institute of Mental Health, to bring scholars together who had been doing research under grants from the NIMH on the cognitive, that means mental, and linguistic development of the African American child. And at this conference, a group of black psychologists, linguists, anthropologists, and speech pathologists and audiologists got together and decided that we needed to have a term to define what we believe about our language. And that was, we can't call our language English if we don't believe our language is a dialect of English. And so the term Ebonics was coined by Robert Williams to help us have a term that we could all agree on that represented the language of descendants of enslaved Africans here in the American and Caribbean diaspora. That means that it applies not only to the blacks in North America, but also the people in the islands of Haiti, Jamaica, Barbados, and all of those blacks who were enslaved and captured by the British and the French and taken to those islands in the Caribbean. Let me stop there.
But Dr. Smith, how close have we come to getting people to recognize and to understand that there's something missing, and to understand the fact that our children are judged by the way they speak, as far as their intellect. They've been placed at the back of the room, feeling they're unintelligent. When they write, they tend, see, people, as a publisher, I listen to people who speak so elegant, but when they write, it come a whole different matter. So our children are being marked down on their written materials because they really write the way they talk at home. Okay,
let's start with the purpose of education. Robert Williams, in the book that's going to be, Linda Taylor's going to present her presentation. The book is called Introduction to Ebonics. The theme of the conference this year is Ebonics, an Introduction Revisited. And in this book, Robert Williams makes the point of the education purpose. If the education purpose of the schools is to keep black people in their place, then the schools have done an excellent job because they can tell by the how many prisons they need to build based on the performance of black children in these tests that they give the children in terms of scholastic achievement in the schools. Now, for a lot of African descendants who are very uncomfortable with their African ancestry, they would rather perceive themselves as black Anglo-Saxons. Okay, they see themselves as nothing but dark-skinned Europeans. Those blacks who are hog-mauled and hot sauce-eating Negroes who are uncomfortable with their African ancestry are sick. They need mental help. Okay, and so that's a different population than the Afrocentric population that did what they did in the Oakland Unified School District in December 1996. In December 16, 1996, the Oakland Unified School District passed a resolution declaring that if African descendants place the African language as their home language, be given the same educational approaches and treatment as anybody else who identify a language other than English on their home language identification form. So the Vietnamese, the Hmong, the Hispanics, the Chinese, Korean, no matter what language you speak at home, if that's the language is your home language, the school district has to give the children a test. And it depends on how the children perform on this English performance test, whether the child is given alternative instruction in English, and most in California it's ESL, English as a second language. The children are considered to be English language learners, and the approach to teaching them the English language is as a second language. They don't denigrate, berate, or demean the mother tongue that the children bring to the school. The children already speak a language other than English, and they're being taught English as a second language. But they haven't been doing that for black children, even though the Robert F. Peckham, that's the judge in the federal court case that the AB side won in 1973, That case was a landmark decision, yet we have school districts who are still refusing to acknowledge the home language of black children as a language other than English, partly because misguided, miseducated African descendants are placing English as the home language, and therefore they're not obliged to tell the parents that the children are not speaking English. They're claiming that, well, this English that you talk is old, broken, sloppy, Slavic, broken, corrupt form of English, and we're going to teach them a good form of English. That demeans the mother tongue. That's the way my mama talked, that's the way my grandma talked, big ain't and little ain't. Wall-to-wall niggas talk just like I talk, and now I got to come to school and be told that, well, that's sloppy English, we're going to teach you some good English. That is not the approach that they use when they teach Latinos and Chinese, Vietnamese, and everybody else. They recognize and appreciate the fact that this child has mothers and fathers and grandmothers and who in their home language speak a language other than English, and the child needs to be taught English as a second language.
Wow, that's deep, and that's what we're seeing all over. That our people are trying to be ashamed of who they are. Ashamed of it. I remember I was at a family reunion, and one of my sisters said, well, you all can do what you want to, but no, this was a professor. I was up in Oakland when all this, came out, and they asked me to stay for one of their cable shows. And this professor said, you all can do what you want to do, but I tell you what, I'm not going. I said, did you say, she wasn't going to speak Ebonics. You understand what I'm saying? And my sister said she wasn't going to speak it. Yeah, and she said, girl, do you remember old so-and-so? He killed. I said, killed. They don't even get it. Wow. Well, I hope that we can wake our people up to understand. You have to know there's something wrong when our children lagging behind on test scores and grades and other children, because they have the advantage of English as a second language, and we deny. We don't need no help. We all the same. We just, that don't make us different. Wow. Miss Linda?
Yes, ma'am.
We're glad to have you on our show this morning with your book, Introduction to Ebonics, the Reflexification of African Grammar with English and Other Indo-European Words. Your book is absolutely awesome. I just wish we can get it in the hand of all these people who call themselves Afro-American and those who are not. People who are not tend to be more interested in trying to understand our culture than we tend to ourselves, and I find that quite interesting. So give us your take. I know you're coming out here. We're really waiting to hear from you. Give me your position when it comes to Ebonics and grammar and how we stand and with our children, how they speak, because I know you are speech pathology, so I'm sure you see a lot of it. So give us your take. And Carla, we're going to come to you after we hear from Linda.
Right. As a speech language pathologist, I am almost floundering around because I see the problems that I see them firsthand, where the children either are they're not receiving the services they need because of the dual system that we have. On one hand, we're told we speak a dialect of English, and the children, they speak, for instance, they'll say they for they and flow for floor. They'll use their own language system. And so the school system says, well, we're not going to help them in any way because they're just speaking an acceptable form of English. My problem is that I know later in life, when they apply for jobs or whatever, they will encounter some negativisms because of their speech patterns. And that's where I am trying to find my way into helping our people enhance their speaking abilities, not to do away or try to do away with our natural tongue, but to show them that there are differences in our speaking and in the English language, and to make them proud of what they speak when they use our different sound systems and grammar systems, but to let them know another way is learning English as a second language, if that's making any sense.
It does. It really does, Linda.
Right. And with the book, I must pay tribute to Dr. Smith, who agreed to mentor me almost 26 years ago when I first heard him expound on the subject of Ebonics, something I had never heard about before 1991. I became a follower because he impressed me into believing that our children are not being treated fairly. They're not receiving the educational benefits that they are due. And so with the book, I've just started with this volume 1. I've just given a theoretical basis, mostly in the first few chapters with Dr. Smith's chapter and Dr. Williams' chapter, just laying out what Ebonics is and where it came from, and just trying to help everybody understand the concept of Ebonics. And after understanding, maybe they will be more receptive to realizing there's work to be done in teaching our children English as a second language.
And I think you lay out well what Ebonics is and what Ebonics is not. And I think that is very important, because I think all the conferences that I've attended and all the professors and educators are saying, we're not trying to tell the teachers, teach the students Ebonics, but we're trying to say that you need to recognize their language and help them with their writing versus marking them down to a D or F for acting like they're ignorant. Show them the way. If I'm right, Dr. Smith, tell me, that's all I hear you're trying to say to the educator. Don't just you're not leaving the other students behind. You're showing them how to transcend their language into what you call the standard English. But you never did it for the black children.
Mm-hmm. The subtitle of the book, as you gave it, was The Relexification of African Grammar with English and Other Indo-European Words. The term relexification is a term they use in linguistics referring to the fact that many people learn a second language, but they think that all they need to do is learn the vocabulary of that second language and keep talking in the grammar of their mother tongue. That's called relexification. If I say el bionico hombre, el means the, bionico is bionic, hombre is man. But that's not the way you say the bionic man in Spanish. Spanish has a grammar rule that does not permit the placing of the adjective in front of the noun. The adjective comes after the noun. So the correct way to say the bionic man in Spanish is el hombre bionico, or you want to say the red house. La roja casa, that's the red house. La is the, roja is red, casa is house. But that's not the way you say the red house in Spanish. You say la casa roja, okay? I'm saying that people who understand Spanish know that you know the Spanish words, but you're not using Spanish grammar. When black people try to speak English, they don't know the English grammar. Their thought process of the language is in the grammar, how you make past tense, present tense, and future tense out of the verbs. How do you modify nouns with adjective? How do you make plural and possessive out of nouns? All of those rules are considered to be grammar rules, and black people don't know grammar rules. You say, where your mama at? Well, anybody that knows English know that you don't place prepositions at the end of a sentence. Okay, now people down home will say behind the preposition at, then you know that you don't talk English like that. They're trying to correct your English, but the point I'm making is at, like, where your mama? Well, that's still not English, even if you take the word at out the sentence altogether. Where your mama is, where is your mother? Okay, or where's your mama, but not where your mama without a verb at all. That is not English. You're not speaking English because you use English words. You're speaking English when you use English grammar. A lot of our people think just because they know English words Okay, they're speaking English, just don't speak English like white people speak it. They're not even speaking English because English is a Germanic language, and German is a grammar that is where the English, the very word English comes from English. The Anglo-Saxon dialect of German was brought to the Isle of Great Britain by the Anglo-Saxons and the Jutes to help them fight the Romans and run them up out of England. And that's how the German dialect of English became dominant on the island of what's called Great Britain or England today. So people who don't know English history don't know enough to even try to even discuss this subject. But I'm sharing with them that the black people have relexified the African grammar with European words. In Haiti, they relexified the African grammar with French words. In Brazil, and most slaves were brought to Brazil, then brought to North America, they relexified the African grammar with Portuguese words. All over the world, black people learn the language they speak in the environment in which they're spoken and heard. Children are not born talking. They learn a language in the environment. And black people have historically been isolated from the Europeans, and they don't bring the European language into the world talking as an infant. They learn whatever's in the environment they speak. That's why some black people who are born in predominantly white environments have more fluency in what's called ideally competent English than black people who are born in social isolation from white people. So those betcha by golly wow Negroes who think that they're somehow, because they can mimic white speech better than blacks who are born in the isolated black community, that somehow they're more intelligent, okay? You're not intelligent because you know how to mimic white people. A parakeet or a minor bird can mimic human speech. That does not give a parakeet or a minor bird the cognitive capacity of a human being. So me being able to say, they're my color, but they're not my kind. I'm an individual. I swam alongside the slave ship. I didn't come with them. That betcha by golly wow mess that these hunkified Negroes learn to use. I'm not denigrating the learning of English, but I'm just saying don't think that somehow because you learn to mimic white people way of speaking English that somehow you're cognitively superior or you're better than other black people who didn't have the disadvantage, or if you want to call it an advantage, of being in a white community where you can mimic old crackers that speak English ideally competently.
Wow, and that's why I think, Dr. Smith, we couldn't get the parents to identify with the school that child was not English speaking or did need English as a second language, because they really thought that they knew everything about English just because of what you said, because they can say English words but not knowing the English grammar. That's the same thing with, like you said, with Spanish. If you don't know the grammar and you're trying to talk to those who do, you're saying things and they're looking at you crazy because you're not using it correctly with the adjective and the verbs. And they go, what are you talking about? Because you learn a few words and you go out and start talking to them, you sound like a fool unless you learn the grammar. Am I right?
You're correct. Absolutely correct. And that no matter what language you learn, you must follow the grammar rules. If it's Arabic, whether it's Chinese, Spanish, German, it doesn't matter what language you're learning, you must follow the grammar rules. If knowing the vocabulary of that language will not make you a speaker of that language.
Wow.
And we have learned the European vocabulary, the English in the case of Africans in North America here. The descendants of enslaved Africans, I don't use the term African American because I believe that there are no African Americans. There are Africans in America. So sometimes black people get hung up with, I'm an African American. You're not no American. You're a descendant of enslaved Africans. And when they drew up the Constitution, your folks weren't even at the Albany Convention, the first, Second Continental Congress. You were enslaved, and they wrote that into the Constitution when they made their own country and became United States of America.
Wow, wow. Well, let me take one call, and we're going to come back. Those who want to talk to us, you can call us at 310-928-7733 and talk to Dr. Ernest Smith or Miss Linda Taylor out of Tennessee. They're going to be presenting this weekend at the Abundance Conference. I tell you, it's something you don't want to miss. Once I started attending, I never miss it. I think every educator, every parent, if you're interested in what's taking place with your child in the classroom and interested in what's taking place with your adults in those interviews, because the way they talk, the way they write things on that application determine whether the person want to hire them. They look at you as if you're unintelligent, if you're not writing it the way they think you should write. And you know, a lot of black people, it just told to skip over verbs. They just use them few words they have learned, and the verb is no place. Okay, so we must understand that. And I would ask people to really just start thinking about how you say things, and you will have to laugh at yourself because you will say, I didn't realize that this is the way I write it. I didn't realize this how, because you don't think about that. But it's time we do, because I'm tired of people thinking a person ignorant by the way they write. A lot of people cannot write, but they are certainly intelligent. Okay, so we're going to take this caller. Caller, go ahead, give us your name. Hello.
Harry, all I can say is wow.
Okay.
Wow. All I can say, I'm piggybacking on what Dr. Milligan says. Wow, because that is a lot to take in. And I am from Louisiana, and Dr. Milligan is from Mississippi, and there are people because of all the different people that settled in our region, the Italians, the French, the Spanish. A lot of the people spoke in South Mississippi, and Louisiana. They spoke French. And some of my friends claim that they forefathers didn't speak any English. You know, they're black. And so what they would say with the particularly the fair complected girls would say is, I am Creole. I parlez-vous français. Well, what they were saying is, do you speak French? You know, so they like we all like kind of bilingual, you know, and some of them are bisexual, but we won't get into that.
All right.
That's for the comedy store, but we all kind of bilingual, and what the girls would say is the word like the light skinned girls would say, she's a passe blanc. Well, passe blanc is it's pass for white. What they're saying is she's a pass for white. So they got it butt backwards. There's another way to say that, but I'm just going to leave it at butt because I don't want Keith to beat me up.
Okay, Harry,
shorten it up.
Close it out. Close it out, Harry.
But anyway, I get a kick out of the way my Dr. Milligan talks, because she's one of the most brilliant people and thoughtful people that I know. And she talk like my chicken out in the backyard, and I understand everything she say, and I love her dearly. And she's helped so many people, and she has never tried to anglify her speech. You know, and it's still everybody respects her.
Yeah.
And when I go to the bank, Harry, they don't care how I say it. They just take the deposit and be glad to make interest on it. Okay.
They just take your millions, and you just living off your interest.
That's right.
that's smart. Okay, we got another caller.
Go ahead, caller. Give us your name.
Hi. This is Vicky from Hawthorne. You know me, Dr. Rosie. You know my sister Leatrice better.
Oh yes. Okay. Good to hear you.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Okay, first of all, don't put me down because I don't have an Ebonic accent. There's a reason for that, and it's not because I don't love my black people, not because, I don't love our language, and not because I am unapologetically black, but I've got a lot of flack all my life because I never developed the Ebonic accents, and there's reasons for that. But I love what you guys are saying. Let me take you back to when I was in college. I mean, I was a lone voice in the wilderness lobbying for English as a second language because what I had considered, what we call Ebonics, as a pigeon, and it is a handicap. It was hurting our black children. And I was lobbying for English as a second language because that is what's needed. We do not need to be in English classes. We don't need to sit in English classes and learn about subjects and predicates, etc. We need to learn English as a second language in much the way the Hispanic children do. I'm going to just share a couple of quick stories what even enforced that further with me. I was in a doctor's office one morning at the receptionist desk, and another lady, a black lady, came up, and the other receptionist asked her, okay, so what is she here for? And the lady said, Hathoso. The receptionist looked like, excuse me? The other receptionist, she looked at me like, looked at the lady like, excuse me? And she said, Hathoso. And then so the receptionist looked at me. It's like, you're black, surely you must understand it. And I'm thinking, damn right I do. I mean, I speak it. I do understand it. I said, she said her throat is sore. She has a sore throat, okay? And seeing my people with that inability to express it in standard English, it further reinforced my idea that we need English as a second language. I'll share one more story with you. When I was an undergraduate, I had the unhappy task of being the professor's assistant, and some of the students were black. And I would grade the term papers, and I would see things like, use the word like want, I want, and it would spell it WONT. Now, these were college students getting ready to graduate as education majors. And I said, this is just sickeningly unfair. And I continued, and so I love you guys. You are fun. I'm so happy to hear what I was seeing 30 years ago. So I just wanted to share that with you. Thanks for letting me share.
Well, you know what? I'm so glad that you called, and I hope that you'll be able to attend the conference this weekend. Just what you shared would be an awesome thing, really, to just share with our audience. People have no idea. With me in a medical background, I see it all the time, what they don't even know what our black clients are talking about. And here they are foreigners, they don't know, and they mix that, and they just start writing on the chart. They have no idea, what they're talking about. Just something simple as how they would go in and ask older patient, do you want a urinal? Well, old man don't know about no damn urine, you know what I'm saying? But they didn't know how to express it any other way, and they sitting there looking at them, So I'm so glad you understand it. Try to come this weekend, okay?
Okay, Dr. Rosie, thank you so much again for letting me share. Okay,
Thank you. Thank you.
That's the reason that the black kids are always at the bottom of reading and language scores, consistently for the last 50 years. And they know it. That's what I was saying about the doll test. The doll test is not there to prove racism. It's to prove that their brainwashing and what they're doing is effective. They know what they're doing. White people aren't stupid, okay? They're not stupid. They know what they're doing.
Exactly. Dr. Smith, Linda, you have a comment on what she said. I thought that just sum up really what we've been talking about, right?
That's correct. None of what I'm saying is intended to denigrate the learning of English. The whole purpose of education has to be to make it possible for our children to function in society. On page 73 of Linda's book, Introduction to Ebonics, Robert Williams says, let me read this. What is the purpose of American education? Is it to properly educate children, or is it to prepare them to take their place in American society? On the one hand, the educational system is failing to educate our African American children, who are disproportionately represented in special education classes. One of every 4 black children enrolled in the 9th grade drops out before the high school graduation. Dropout rates of black students are just under twice as great as for white children. On the other hand, the education system has not failed black children, especially if the purpose is to prepare them to take their place in society. Schools are doing what they are supposed to do.
Exactly.
They are
Exactly. Say it again, because they didn't hear you.
That's powerful.
Say it again.
They are organizing black children for the purpose of taking their place in society, and they are succeeding at what they are designed to do. Thus, the school system really have not failed. They're doing a good job at preparing our children to take their place in society at the bottom of the rung of the economic ladder and in prisons, slave ships that don't float. Perhaps it is not explicitly stated as a policy, but it is what is happening. It is de facto existing in fact, but without a policy. Mm-hmm. That's on page 73 of the book Introduction to Ebonics. He goes very deep into that subject of what is the purpose of education. They're preparing our children for prisons and the bottom rung of the economic ladder. That's what they're supposed to do. We have to stop it.
The school system is there to socialize you first and educate you second. Yeah, and they're socializing black people to accept their place at the bottom of the society. That's what they're doing.
They don't help you transition, but then call you dumb, unintelligent because you don't know the grammar that you've never been taught properly.
And when every time you get a D and an F on your paper for 12 or 13 years, guess what? That's what's going to happen to your self-esteem.
Mm.
Wow. And see, that's the problem. And that's why a lot of students, you all, do not raise their hand in class. And then the teacher hold that against them. You never answering the question. You don't make any remark. They are ashamed because they have seen how you put down those who don't speak the way you think they should speak. So that's why a lot of people, even adults, won't ask questions. When they do, I've been at town hall meetings with Dr. Smith and Linda, and when they do, they are almost angry when they ask it because they know you're looking down on them. They feel like they're not going to say it the way you think they should, so they might just start cussing because they know you understand that, okay?
So my question is, after the conference this weekend, will we rally a movement? What will we do?
Well, the movement, in my mind, would be to try to get to the schools. We have to take a stand. These are our children. We have to decide what curriculum is going to be there. We have to do a push to make these parents understand that you're not different in a negative term, to say that your child need ESAR. I think that's what Dr. Smith has been trying to do all the time. And no, they could not get the parents because they wanted to be white. You know, no, I speak English. Us, all of us speak English. You know, it's a big job. But then, Dr. Smith, what are you thinking? That's really where we've been trying to go, to get the educators. And now we almost a day later and dollar short because they done pushed most of the black teachers out of the schools here because they couldn't speak English.
Right. Or they couldn't speak Spanish. The whole situation is that we have the responsibility of educating our own people, especially black parents, because if a black parent identifies English as their home language, the school district has no legal or affirmative obligation to change the child's language and then give them English as a second language. You can't give English as a second language if you already speak English. So the main thing that's been my focus since 1996 is educating black parents. This is the 20th year that we put this conference on at Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science. That's a historically black medical school, federally designated historically black medical school, and our African-centered education that we give to black people who are trying to enter the health professions and into the medical profession is to make sure that we understand what the needs of our people are. We were talking about dealing with the elderly black people in geriatrics. That's the division that I was in before they closed Martin Luther King Hospital down. We had problems with the black elderly being able to communicate with the foreign-born as well as American physicians. Black physicians were able to communicate with them, but black physicians didn't have anybody to do the actual thing that when the persons are first encountered by the receptionists or nurses or whoever encounters them before the physician gets to them. The black physicians didn't have a problem because they were bilingual, as the sister was explaining. A lot of black people are monolingual in their mimicry skills, but they are passively bilingual in that they understand Ebonics even if they don't talk it. If you understand two languages, you're bilingual. Being able to perform in two languages is your ability performance. So competence is what you know. How you use your competence is performance. So they make a distinction in the field of linguistics in competence and performance. If someone is Arabic and asks me my name, I can say my name in English, and they may understand it, or I can say my name in Ebonics, they may understand it. That doesn't mean that I'm speaking Arabic. He asked me my name, and I gave him a response. Vice versa, if I ask him his name in Arabic, and he replies in Arabic, that's active bilingualism. We're both speaking Arabic to each other. So there's passive bilingualism and active bilingualism, and those kinds of distinctions need to be made. That sister that was talking earlier, she's a passive bilingual. She understands two languages, but she only speaks one. Okay, her mimicry of ideally competent English does not make her a Anglo-Saxon or black Anglo-Saxon. She just had the advantage of being exposed to that particular variety of English, and so she has that level of fluency or competence in English. She does not lose any blackness by learning how to speak another language. Learning 3, 4 languages does not make you less than black.
That's a good thought. That's a good point. And we have to push forward and try to get to make it our mission to have our children. It's not too late to really be in ESL because they don't mind putting them in special ed.
Yeah. America's the only place to do that because I was talking to people that are in Great Britain, and they recognize dialects. You know, even amongst white people in Great Britain, they have about 5 or 6 dialects, and they recognize all of them. So they teach to the standard dialect that's dominant in the UK. Even though they
in the UK it's called RP, the received pronunciation, or the King's English.
Right.
But the English that's acceptable in the royal court, the definition of that is whatever the King's English is, that's what's ideally competent in England. It's called RP, received pronunciation. What is received in the royal court is proper English in England. Now, you have some black people who say, I don't talk English. English, okay, he's already saying what it really is. He's saying I don't speak English, which, as I said earlier, is an Anglo-Saxon dialect of German, which was brought to Great Britain, or what is now called England, back in 535 A.D., after the death of Christ. So the point that I wanted to make was that if you know English, then you have an advantage that many African descendants do not have, and it's better that you know how to make a transition from one language to the other. If I say Karim min Beirut fi Lebanon, huwa Kabib fi Mustashfa, nobody know what I'm talking about unless they speak Arabic, but what I'm saying is Karim, that's somebody's name, min Beirut, from Beirut, fi Lebanon, in Lebanon, huwa Kabib, he doctor, Fil Mustafa in hospital. That's Arabic, okay? Now, if I say it in English, Kareem from Beirut in Lebanon, that is a translation from the thought in my head into another language. I say it in Arabic, I can say it in English. I'll say it again. Kareem min Beirut fi Lebanon, huwa tabib fil Mustafa. Ana Muhandis min Abu Dhabi. Ana Muhandis min, I'm an engineer. Min Abu Dhabi, from Abu Dhabi. Okay, so what I'm sharing with you, I don't lose no blackness by learning how to speak Arabic. I studied that much of it to be able to communicate with a person who speaks Arabic. So the same way, él no sabe de lo que está hablando. Él no sabe de lo que está hablando. He don't know what he's talking about. Él no sabe. He don't know.
Dr. Smith, I'm going to ask you to pause just for a moment. We got 2 calls holding. People want to talk to you. Go ahead. I think it's 626 first.
Hi. Yeah, this is Carl, man. Oh, my gosh. I'm just loving the show. Dr. Smith, you're like my morning cup of coffee. All of you guys. You guys woke me up like, so much I can learn. That I teach folks is language is a precursor to commerce, okay? And you see it out here, where, the immigrants come in, the first thing they do is they want to speak English or learn so they could go ahead and get in either the job market or, create business or whatnot. And I'm glad that so much that you've said is so important, because I always teach this when I lecture and do my investment conferences is whenever you learn a second language, you increase your net worth by 15%. You learn Chinese or Spanish, it's 25%, and that's statistically, proven. Basically, what it is I see our young folks struggling with just one language. Not to say struggling, but I haven't seen the commerce. I haven't seen the effect of commerce speaking Ebonics or hanging out in the streets. And in today's competitive environment where, you got all these immigrants coming in, not only learning the language, but also the customs and the courtesies of what those languages bring, they're going to be, hopefully we can teach our young folk and have a lot more, listen to what you're doing and what and what you're saying, because I have a feeling if we don't do that very soon, even if they're struggling with one language, they're going to be swamped both in the marketplace. They're going to be swamped and everywhere else. And the only other place I could see is either in the streets or prison. And I don't want to see that. And I know our children are more capable. I should say us as a people in general are not only capable, but we're so much more above that. So I'm hoping that I just wish much success to you. And I hope many more folks listen to you. And I'm just going to thank you guys in all the languages that I know, like terima kasih, arigato gozaimashita, gracias, spasiba, kamsamida. I had to learn like 6 or 7 languages just so I could travel around the world. So I just got to thank you guys.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling, Carl. See, what we did when we tell them, talk about the language, we hear our people saying, well, you know what? Let the Hispanics learn English. I'm not going to learn Spanish. And I'm saying, do you realize how foolish this is? Your tax dollars is going to teach other students how to become bilingual when your child don't even know the basic of English. You're teaching other people with your tax dollars to outdistance you as a competitor. Let them learn English. So in other words, what you're saying, Board of Education, teach them English, put the money up for them. But what about you? What about you?
Let's take learn.
Let's take the second caller. Go ahead, caller.
Good afternoon, Dr. Rosie Keith and Dr. Smith. How are you doing today?
Good.
Okay.
Hi, Ingrid. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So I was born in Jamaica, and we speak what they call Jamaican patois. And for many, many years, we were told that was broken English and you don't speak properly. Well, through research, it's basically Twi that we speak in Jamaica.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and so there's even some groups of people, particularly the Maroons, that actually it's not mixed in with English. They actually speak original Twi, and it's garnered a lot of interest from historians and people from West Africa now, because they speak the Twi from like 16 and 1700s.
Well, it's like this. When are we going to stop letting other people define what our language is and whether it's broken or not? We could consider theirs broken because they don't speak like us if we wanted to. But the point here is you can come from Jamaica, you can come from any place, Ingrid, and you can speak your language and nobody look down on you. I'm telling you what I know. It's only black people that people hold at a higher standard when it comes to speaking this English language. I have a girlfriend Jamaican. She go, I go to the store. However I make grocery, whatever they say, but let a black person say it. I'm telling you all, we're held at a different standard. Look down on foreigners come here from all countries, and however they speak. Somehow explain to me why they're not considered unintelligent when they're not speaking standard English. It's only put on the burden of black Americans, I'm telling you. Am I right, Linda?
That's the way it is in 2017. You're right. You're right.
That's us. Anybody else can speak it however they want to.
Go ahead, Linda. Did the professor who just called say where he was calling from?
The professor.
A minute ago.
Oh, Carl.
Good to my Carl. Carl, he's from Long Beach. Long Beach,
Okay,
California.
okay.
Yeah.
I was about to tell him to bring his students to the conference on Saturday.
No, Carl is a musician.
Oh, okay.
A very good one, as a matter of fact.
Well, I hope all these educators and parents come and empower yourself. When we can get the parents empowered, then they will go to the school and demand, no, this is what we want. The students don't know how to demand it. They're not supposed to. And if you don't have children, you need to join the movement. We got to fight for children whose parents, especially in our community, there's a lot of children, 60% of a lot of students that go into some of these schools don't even come from their mother or their father. They're in foster care. So you all who are listening, we got to stand up and fight for our children. They are our today generation, our next generation, and what they do is going to impact how well we operate in society. It really is.
Mm-hmm. Let me share with the audience that high school students, college students, and seniors are admitted to the conference free. You don't have to pay a dime to get in. Okay, high school students, college students, and seniors are admitted free. So it's no cost to come to the Ebonics conference, and that's been the policy for 20 years. Okay, so all y'all that are interested, you have to spend no money to get in.
And let me give you the address again and the date. That this Saturday, November 4th, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Charles R. Drew University of Medicine Science Keck Lecture Hall. That's 1621 East 120th Street. That's just right off of Wilmington. And distinguished presenters is Dr. Adrian Dove. We have Ms. Linda Taylor, all the way from Memphis, Tennessee. Dr. Ernie Smith. Am I missing anybody? And yours truly, I will be your MC. And I'm going to be in rare form Saturday. Y'all know how to do it.
When are you not in rare form, Dr.?
I'm going to moderate this thing, y'all. You need to be there. Get your students. Get everybody that want to help blacks move to the next level. I'm telling them they're marking down their papers. They're giving D's. They're keeping them below average, grade average. That's because of how they write, how they speak. And that's why they're not the one marching across that stage getting those scholarships, being your honored student. You have to know that something is wrong because you know black students, you know we're intelligent. So did it ever occur to you to say, well, why is it that most of the students are non-black who are walking across and getting all those awards? Did it ever occur to you? Or we're trying to tell you what's missing. You got to understand, you got to find a way to make the education system help your children. You're paying taxes like everybody else. Why are you leaving them lagging? Why are they sitting in the back of the bus again when it comes to the education system? You know they're brilliant. Look what they're doing. Some who never even finished college. Entrepreneurs. Look what this young generation are doing. Because they didn't have to pass no darn test that the white men wrote to get where they're trying to go. But if your child trying to articulate that way, you better take heed to what we're saying today.
Okay. Let me share with the audience that in the science of linguistics, we study words and we study the nonverbal communication, and sometimes words have what's called polysemy, P-O-L-Y-S-E-M-Y. That means a word or a phrase can have a lot of different meanings. When you hear white people talk about make America great again, that's a dog whistle. Let me explain the term dog whistle as it's understood in linguistics. A dog whistle is when somebody says something. A dog can hear a sound that human tympanum, the brain of the eardrum, cannot perceive. Okay, the dog's eardrum vacillates or moves faster than a human's eardrum. So a dog can hear a sound way at a higher pitch than a human can. In English, we use the term dog whistle to refer to white people using terms that they understand, but black people don't. And so when you hear white people talk about make America great again, that's a dog whistle for putting the niggas back in slavery, putting niggas back in chains, shooting them down with impunity on the street like dogs, okay? This is what they're doing, and you see it happening, and you don't realize that make America great again and putting niggas in the boxcars and putting them in the ovens like they did the Jews in Germany. That's what make America great again is to white people, putting niggas back in their place and their places on the plantation, in the field, working for white folks for free.
And that's the prison. That's what the prison system is, working for free. That's what it is.
Because they don't want to pay no and stuff. They're getting these dumb white jocks from high school and putting them as prison guards, and they privatizing the prison so they don't have to pay no retirement and stuff. If they keep the state prisons, they have to pay a whole lot of retirement benefits and stuff. They have to do with that private prison. They get dumb white people to be the prison guard and put niggas in there and work them for free on high-tech computers and anything else they want to make them do. That's what the prison system has become throughout America. They privatize the prison and they load them up with black people, and them that don't want to go to prison, they shoot them down like dogs in the street.
And you may ask, what does all this have to do with Ebon? It has a lot to do with it, because a lot of our people are not able to pass exam, not able to write well when they answer questions on tests. So this has a lot to do with Ebonics. Everything that we're talking about has to deal with Ebonics. Let me give you the number one more time. Yeah, 909. You can call 909-628-7052. 909-628-7052. Or you can call me at 323-750-3592. 323-750-3592. I think we have another caller we need to squeeze in before we wrap it up. Go ahead, caller. We have a caller holding?
I think that was Ingrid. I don't know if she's still on.
Okay. Well, we're about run out of time, but I want to thank you all. Linda, I'm so looking forward to you. Your book is absolutely, I just hope you all.
Repeat the name of the book again, please,
The name is Introduction to Ebonics, the Reflexification of African Grammar with English and Other Indo-European Words. Absolutely incredible, you all. Have a foreword by Molifa Asante, introduction by Dr. Ernest Smith, and special contribution by the author, the man himself, Dr. Robert E. Williams. You all got to be there. And Linda is a special pathology consultant, and I'm telling you, she's on top of her game. And you all know Dr. Ernest
Does she have a contact, like the Facebook, Twitter, something like social media?
Do you, Linda?
I am on Facebook, yes.
How do they find you on Facebook?
Is something that we can share, like publicly, or you don't have a site? You don't have a room for that yet?
No, no, not really. RightStuffHealthSystems.com is our family business's internet site.
Okay.
Do you have a number they can reach you if someone want to talk to you, Linda?
Well, they can call 901-649-9624.
Can you repeat it?
901-649-9624. As I attempt to say it in English, 9624. 649.
9624.
9624.
You all, we're going to be in for a treat this Saturday. Spread the word. You know how you all like to Facebook and tweet and all this kind of stuff. Tweet about something makes sense, because we're in trouble. Our people are in trouble. Our children are in trouble. And what Dr. Smith has been doing, you see what I said, Dr. Smith, them. Y'all heard me. I have a PhD. You hear me? I said what Dr. Smith did. Did you hear me? Dr. Smith has been done. You all better be there, okay? And see, you need to know both language. When you're at home, you need to talk the way you want to talk. But when you get 40 white folks, when you're trying to get something from them, you got to go the other way. I'm just straight up front with you all. You got to go another way. Don't think I talk this way when I get in a certain place. It's just me. It's just the way I talk. That's why you're going to be unemployed. You're not going to get certain things. Get out of just who you are. There's a time and a place to be who you are, and there's a time and a place when you can come out. It's the old folks say they used to call it two-faced. Is that two-faced, Dr. Smith?
It is. You got to pass. We get black folks got to learn how to start passing.
Two-faced ain't bad now, okay? Two-faced is not a bad word now, okay? I want to thank you, Miss Linda. I'm looking forward to seeing you, Dr. Smith. Always looking forward to seeing you all. And thank you so much, and we're looking forward to a packed house, so you all guys get on the job. If they say get on the stick, because we going to be there, okay?
The show's gonna repeat at 8:30 Pacific time and 11:30 Eastern time. So grab your kids and grab your parents, and especially put them in front of the computer and let them listen to this, because it's important to your future.
LightRadio.com, and you can listen to this show at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11:30 Eastern Time. It will rebroadcast. I want to thank our guests. We're looking forward. You don't want to miss it, I'm telling you. And if there's any reason you can't miss it, you need to get that book, I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Rosie.
Thank you. Have a great day. See you Saturday.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.